Hello, and welcome back to part 3 of Equestria War, causing the Communist Revolution of Hippogriffia! Today, the revolution may finally be able to begin, as we are so close to the revolutionary dream we all hope for. But first, the enemies of our movement, Ares First, have applied for a rally permit in Harmonizing Heights. In the wake of the massive wave of support their movement has garnered in recent times, Ares First has begun making preparations to hold a rally in the Harmonizing Heights neighborhood of Mount Ares, one of the most idyllic spots on the mountain, and a popular destination for families on vacation, home to some of the oldest and grandest villas in Hippogriffia. Ares First seems to be pouring huge amounts of money and time into organizing this rally, with a planned attendance in the thousands and an elaborate sound system planned to broadcast their message across Harmonizing Heights. However, when they applied for a permit to hold the rally, the local mayor denied it. Good for him. Good mayor. Citing concerns that the rally would damage the neighborhood, bringing up the damage that has been caused at some rallies in the past. Ares First leader, Raftwood, who was once high in Novo Court, has appealed this rejection directly to the Queen, an act unheard of until now, requesting that she overturns the mayor's decision and allow their peaceful gathering to go ahead. Wood said in a heartfelt letter that Ares First has always stood in support of the monarch, and merely wishes to make their message known to a location so in tune with the traditions of the nation they hold dear, as well as assuring her that he and Crack Lightning had always put plans in place to ensure the rally did not ruin the scenery. Finally, he also argued that the mayor's decision was motivated by anti-Ares First bias and pre-existing political agendas against him, and that any other Arson would allow him to hold the rally. While there is nothing truly illegal about the attempted rally, the concerns of the mayor are valid, and allowing this petition to be received by the Queen could be a show of official support from the monarch. It's their right? No, refuse to even hear their petition. Another thing I'm glad about that this equestrian civil war happened, they don't get their expansionist path. If the Civil War doesn't happen, you have to deal with their horrible, annoying expansionist path. But we don't have to worry about that, because instead they'll get an expansionist path if after a victory, but it stalls them for a good bit. Though if they win, they'll also have a bit of a backing for big power. But honestly, I'd rather that than have them be as quick as they are if the Civil War doesn't happen. Madness today on the streets of Mount Ares says the Ares First rally set to be held there has become a point of martyrdom for one of its leaders, Crack Lightning. Speaking to a small town outside Mount Ares, as well as broadcasted over the radio, he has rallied against the government's choice to prevent his rally from taking place, stating, "This government claims to wish to bring principles of freedom to our nation, yet they have somehow forgotten the freedom of speech. The hippogriffs of Mount Ares wish to hear our truth, and somehow they allow one corrupt mayor to prevent us from speaking." Lightning's remarks were echoed by other Ares First speakers around the country, but the results seem to be lacking. The government's refusal to allow the rally to go ahead seems to have taken some steam out of the movement, especially since the Queen herself made no comment on the issue. Lightning was, however, quick to separate the Queen from her government, saying, "O Queen Novo, how they have failed and deceived you. One day you shall see that we only fight for your good, and you shall rid yourself of those disgusting foreign lackeys who hold you hostage." Queen Novo declined to comment on this as well. Free speech only goes so far. Come on down to Hippogriffia. Our home is among the most beautiful regions of the world, and visitors agree. Opening up for tourists and enterprisers will net us another source of revenue, as well as making sure that thousands of creatures across the world will go home with a positive experience of us. Might have read that last time, might have not, don't remember. Yeah, let's get that construction speed. Where's my nation? Lost my nation for a moment there. Somehow. The Hippogriff miracle. This is your final success, Queen Novo. Yeah. From the shadows under the sea, our civilization has risen high. Golden skyscrapers now tower tall across Mount Ares, rising out of the sea and binding our people together. Stronger than ever before, Hippogriffia is now the shining prosperous jewel of Zebrica, as she always meant to be. It's capitulated with the forces in control. Oh, he's gone into exile. Blah blah blah. Changes made that. I'm gonna build a military factory underwater. My communist brethren, fight! Fight on! Do not let the evil changeling horde defeat you. Fight with all your might. The National Automotive Convention. Princess Skystar suppressed a yawn as she wandered through the hall. The Arson Economics Society was hosting a national automotive convention, bringing together leading economists and business griffs. Because Queen Nova was unavailable, Skystar had to represent the monarchy at this event. Even though she didn't know much of anything about the automotive industry, if she had to listen to one more lecture on the benefits of sustainable growth, she might not be able to stay awake. Skystar, wished she could be doing something more important, like recruiting promising candidates for government services. Harmonic absolutism was becoming increasingly impractical in the modern world. Thank you! Even the princess gets it. Hippogriffia needed to democratize closer to the right way, but okay, and allow talented creatures from different backgrounds to attain high office. If there was someone in government with expertise in economic matters, they could help strengthen the kingdom's economy. Not to mention that person would be the one attaining boring meeting conventions like this. The princess stopped when she noticed a large crowd in the corner of the room. They were listening to a blue hippogriff who spoke with much more energy than the other presenters. I'm a statistician, something at heart. But I've spent 5 years working as a consultant for car companies. In that time, I've had to force creatures to think deeply about their problems and address them realistically. It's a strategy called scientific management. Take my time at Circus Talon Claw's factory, for example. On my first day, I asked him questions about every little thing till he was red in the face. But I took what I learned and used it to find all the inefficiencies and slowdowns on the production line. Once we ironed those out, productivity increased by over 100%. The audience burst into applause, and Skystar joined in. Maybe she thought, what Hippogriffia needs now is someone like that. Princess Skystar, Rocket Neverfall said, his tone formal yet confident. It's a pleasure to meet you. To what do I owe the honor? I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed your presentation on scientific management. It was the highlight of the whole convention, Skystar replied with a smile. Thank you, Princess. That means a lot. I'm interested in learning more about your consulting strategies. Would you be willing to discuss them with me? Perhaps over lunch? Certainly, Princess. Just name a time and place, and I'll clear my schedule. Thank you so much. I think this could be a great opportunity for both of us. We should meet again, Mr. Neverfall. Okay, sea ponies are staging another protest, whatever. Yeah, let's go ahead and bounce it, I suppose. Once again. That's basically what you do, is you go to one side, then you go back to balance, back and forth, over and over and over and over. Rocket Neverfall looked down at his coffee, then pushed his glasses back up his beak. Let me get this straight. You want me to be a government minister? Yes! Yes! I think Griff, with your talents, could do a lot of good, Princess Skystar said before continuing to eat her meal. It is an interesting proposition, but I'm not sure I'd be the right fit. I don't know anything about government work. Then you'll be in good company, Skystar put her fork down. This kingdom has been an absolute monarchy for its entire history, so the number of creatures with actual governing experience is pretty small. Ever since we returned from Equestria, my mother and I have been bringing in new faces to advise us on all kinds of things. You can join them in learning the business of government. Rocket scratched his chin, seriously considering the idea. I need you to promise me final say over hiring and decision making in my department. My management strategies have encountered resistance in the past, and I want to be sure I can actually make a difference. Realizing she had pulled off a tough sale, Skystar grinned. That can certainly be arranged. It's a deal. Woo, we've done it. And there you are. Hey, Rocket, never fall. You're gonna be brought into the government. Yeah, and now we do harmony above all. Pfft, nah. The left is a desperate group of young socialist, anarchist thinkers and Posida's radical revolutionary workers' party. If the ragtag bunch is to accomplish anything, cooperation will have to be put in place. One way or another, Hippogriffia will break free from the shackles of capitalism. The changelings are advancing. Boo! Hold on, my communist brothers! Unite to fight back the great evil horde! I believe in you. The cult who would be king. After the final battle with the Storm King, Princess Skystar was horrified by what she saw in Zebrica. The Yeti armies had left the country completely devastated, its economy in tatters, and its population traumatized. One of the saddest things the princess heard was the story of Zebrica's king. Crown Prince Zamni was barely more than a fowl when the Storm King invaded, but the conqueror showed him no mercy. After executing his mother and father, the Yetis locked Zamni in a dungeon. He remained there, alone and neglected, until the Hippogriffs defeated his captors. On days like today, when Skystar was in Ain Goret on official business, she always made time to visit the young king. Hello, Zamni. Zamni bowed slowly. Good evening, Princess Skystar. It is a pleasure to see you. Zamni? You don't have to be so formal. Just call me Skystar. My tutors keep telling me I need to behave in a manner befitting a royal. They say appearance is very important for kings. Well, it's true that kings need to behave regally in public, but there's no need to act like that way among friends. As the pair settled into their usual routine of playing a board game, Zamni seemed to dwell on the princess's words. Is it important for kings to have friends? He asked. Of course! Spending time with friends is important for every creature, Skystar replied, beaming with joy. Zamni's eye widened. Since you're my friend, can you take me outside the palace so I can explore the city? Skystar's smile became a frown. I don't think your Regency Council would like that very much. But don't worry. I promise when you're older, I'll take you to Mount Ares and give you a full tour. Thank you. I'd like that. Zamni sighed. But it's just like being king. Another thing I have to wait till I'm older to do. Royal or not, every child needs a friend. Yeah, they deserve friends in the Communist Party. Like, they deserve to be equal with everyone else. They deserve friends as long as they're not royalty anymore. Queen Nova was shocked today to find a grimy beggar in her throne room on Mount Ares. The Hippogriff pleaded with the queen, telling her that the shelter he was staying at had been condemned and he had nowhere to go. As he spun his tragic tale, Nova hissed to her advisors to get Silverstream, who could always be relied upon to defuse tense situations, but she was nowhere to be found. Tension rose as Novo deliberated, with some of her courtiers demanding the beggar be removed from the throne room, as he began accusing the queen herself of not caring about the plight of the poor. The reporters who always attended court sessions scribbled furiously. Finally, Novo rose from her throne, her face betraying outrage, though whether that was at this Hippogriff situation or it is impertinence, no Griff could say. Silencing the room, she spoke. "We need social reform. We need it now." "You are a failure! There's no one to blame but yourself!" Wonder why this communist group is getting bigger. Wonder why. I don't know. Can't think of anything. Nope. Can't really think of anything. Nope. Wonder why. No idea. Apparently they're organizing the left for some sort of coalition thing. I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. They're not that powerful, right? It's not like they're bigger than the Aries First hardliners and Aries First combined and the second biggest group. And probably have the power to take over my government if just they work together well. Nah, couldn't be. I think it's gonna be completely fine. Oh, Aries First protests against imported cars. Aries First has sprung into actions after a sensational news story broke in Aries Times. Wingbardian car from Lucky Break's auto dealership suffered a brake malfunction, sending a family of 3 careening into a telephone pole, leaving no survivors. In the wake of the tragedy, nearly 200 protesters gathered outside Lucky Break's car dealership, picketing the entrance and refusing to leave even when the day turned to night, and a rainstorm swept across their hastily erected camp. Lucky Break was nowhere to be found, but protest organizer and AF founder Raftwood told reporters that his followers would not leave until Lucky Break promised to stop buying Wingbardian and New Marylander automobiles. It's a disgrace, he exclaimed. Lucky Break knows we produce perfectly good cars here, and yet she insists on bringing in products from halfway across the world, damaging our economy and putting more and more of these foreign death traps on the road. Every Griff knows that the Wingbardian and New Maryland governments are subsidizing their companies. Every Griff knows they don't play fair. Well, we've had enough, and we won't leave until something is done about this. While the police managed to disperse the protesters after the 3rd day, numerous newspaper editorials have come out supporting them, and with Lucky Break and other industry leaders refusing to answer the protesters' demand, they have turned to the governments in hopes of getting a ban on the import of foreign cars. They've got a point, ban them, or we will not ban imports. Come on, really? No. Now let's see. Give Skybolt Spear a platform. One of our only friendly contacts in the military, Skybolt Spear seriously considered joining Navia's radical movement and still has friends there. He could provide a valuable persuader of the proletariat members of Aries First. Of course, his paranoia will mandate strong security measures. While the RWP has come to greater prominence than the SLPA, they are still some of our best allies. The PCCA is still wary about a transitionary state. We should reach out to Salini Blue and Sponge Sluice to create a manifesto we can all agree on, broadcasting our appeal and creating a powerful force that can stand united against reaction. The lumpen proletariat, the robbers, the thieves, the charlatan, all those who get by on the labor of others are a potential army for the reactionaries and lack class consciousness. In order to broaden our appeal and neutralize the threat in one move, we will begin a campaign to teach theory and class consciousness to the lumpen proletariat. While we hope it does not come to that, an armed insurrection may prove the only path to communism. We must begin secretly acquiring weaponry and fuel and training soldiers to fight. A commitment to better working conditions are fairer pay, while admirable is hardly enough. We must shift the window of acceptable public opinion left, far left. Soon, mainstream figures will be calling for the abolition of the wage system. One of Posada's brainchildren, theory clubs, allow for discussion of communist principles and organizing more efficiently. They can also be picked for quotable slogans we can plaster on posters and pamphlets. With a few choice words to union organizers, we can paralyze the economy, reminding the bourgeoisie just how badly they need us. The Harmonists are a curious bunch. Their values are quite similar to ours, but they are unwilling to go all the way to achieve those values. We must engage in debates and proselytizing to win new supporters. The largest portion of the left are radical students who desire free college, healthcare, perhaps even universal basic income. But the dictatorship of the proletariat is off-putting to them. Therefore, we must inform them that all the good they will have access to under revolutionary communism. And now, we can't do anything else, so it is time for the one event I will take in this section. Because political power is nice. Or I could take Naval Dockyard, or I could... That's useless. Naval Dockyards could be nice. Let's see. Because this section of the tree will literally disappear after I continue down this path. This is just going to be gone. So actually, just to keep my word, I'm going to do this. Long distance friendship. We want to be self-reliant, but that does not mean that we are going to forget the friends we have. Those who give kindness can be given it in return, and we will both be stronger for it. Originating out of book clubs and disparate political idealists, our coalition has none of the ideological purity that stricter revolutions have managed in the past. Now that we find ourselves in power, about to be in power, thank you very much, not really in power, but you know, the very real differences between communist, democratic, socialist, and anarchist among our coalition become clearer by the day. The power struggle is inevitable. Despite these differences, there's a lot of goodwill between the factions, which has led to some proposing a sort of pact where each faction guarantees not to suppress the others, and to always treat each other as comrades, no matter whose sides come on the top. Our ideology has to stay pure, no guarantees, or no matter who comes to dominate, we're a team. We are a team. The Communist Dream Team. Now, what am I gonna do next? In my tree. Actually, yeah, I could use that. Fire at Lucky Break's car dealership. Shock shook Ares today as a trio of arsonists set fire to Lucky Break's car dealership in the small hours of the night. The three Griffs were all members of Ares First and have expressed no regrets over their actions, which caused over 1 million bits worth of damage to the building and the vehicles within. When questioned, the perpetrators said they were only doing what the government refused to, by striking at the greedy Lucky Break, who is endangering our lives and our livelihood. Ares' first spokespony, Raftwood, has condemned their actions, although he says he sympathizes with their situation, and has urged them to plead guilty and the prosecution to show a little mercy to 3 hippogriffs down on their luck. We cannot have harmony if we cannot accept others. Say nothing, they'll be judged fairly. And they were only doing what they thought was best. Who cares about the democracy? Yes, let's say nothing. They will be judged fairly. We want to be self-reliant, but that does not mean that we are going to forget the friends we do have. Those who give kindness can be given it return, and we will both be stronger for it. Even if we cannot directly aid our friends in war, we can still make sure they are given the tools needed to finish the job. Our factories stand ready to churn out countless weapons needed, and our friends will have access to it for the lowest price we can charge. What's going on? Oh. Yeah, we can go ahead and murder the anarchists. Deals, or, oh, we're not murdering them. I thought it said down with the anarchists. No, we're making deals with the anarchists. I hope the anarchists don't find out about that slip. The anarchists are at once our closest allies and our fiercest competitors, for while our goals are very similar, we also know that one vision will come to dominate Hippogriffia. To keep goodwill afloat and keep us cooperating, we should make some concessions, such as promising to permit non-heretical schools once we have power. Nice. The lowest price we can. Probably free. And prepare, because we're about to get a lot of events, because some of these give quite a few of these give some events. I think just 3 of them, but just 3 is still quite a few. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Roughfeather stood in the shadows, listening to the sound of the alleyway. When he heard someone approach, he readied himself. He jumped into the stranger's path, brandishing a knife. "Stop right there. Put your claws where I can see him." In front of Ruff stood a female hippogriff. She was initially frightened and complied with his orders, but she began to smirk when she saw what he was holding. Gods, he knew he should have gotten a bigger knife. The one he had was so puny, he'd have to make his performance extra intimidating to get what he wanted. "No sudden movements. Give me all the money you got or else." Ruff's victim didn't react to this threat. Instead, she studied his very slender frame. Her expression shifted to a look of concern. "Oh, you poor thing. When's the last time you had a decent meal?" Ruff was taken aback by his question, but soon regained his pose. "That's none of your business. Give me the money or... Before he could finish, she grabbed a wad of currency from her bag and held it out to him. "I wish I could give more, but this is all I have on me right now." Thanks!" Ruff took the money, his face showing complete bewilderness. "My name's Starry Eyes. What's yours?" "Rough Feathers," he replied, belatedly, realizing he shouldn't identify himself to someone he'd just mugged. "Well, Ruff, I'm on my way to the Revolutionary Workers' Party meeting, and I'd like you to come with me. I think you'd really enjoy it." "Oh," Ruff realized, "you're a commie." Suddenly, her behavior made a lot more sense. "Listen, you seem nice, but I ain't going to any party meeting. You commies talk a good game, but I've been around long enough to know there's no such thing as a free..." "Lunch?" Starry interjected. "But there is. All attendees will be provided with snacks. Make sure to try the cupcakes. I baked them myself." Ruff wasn't fully convinced, but he couldn't pass up the opportunity for a meal. He tagged along, wondering if he'd had the communists all wrong. Is there? The left program. W-E. Yes, yeah, W-E. That's what we are. No, we, the Workers' Coalition of RWP, SLPA, and PCCCA, being the representatives of our respective institutions and through them the proletariat and peasantry, have decided to declare our intentions for all to hear. We have no secrets, no hidden desires. Read our program and see for yourself. We aim to establish a true class consciousness, to educate workers and peasants on their economic situation, to peacefully transition into a republic where bloodline is no guarantee of power, to legally recognize unions, to protect unions from bosses, and to assure that no one can be fired for membership in one, to guarantee a minimum wage sufficient to provide for a family with one parent working, to ensure that no one in the country can make more than 100 times what the poorest worker is making, to enrich the rights to work and to a good life, to bring about total economic and social transformation in society, to create a shining beacon of peace, technology, and cooperation, that we might reach the stars. But that just sounds good, no matter what country, but okay. To allow communities to organize themselves with regional autonomy for the communes and the councils. To bring down the tyrants, the capitalists, the lords of blood and tears, and to ensure that every creature will reap the fruits of their labor. Rejoice, workers, for your hour is near! Tremble, tyrants, for wage slavery shall soon be abolished. Co-signed, Posada, Selena Blue, and Sponge Sluice. And Selena Blue becomes available as a political advisor. Cool. Oh yeah, one more. Skybolt Spear had never been great with speeches, but he knew it had to be him. Convincing the soldiers and the sailors would make all the difference, and he was the only high-ranking officer who sympathized with the communist goals. So there he stood, a timid flag officer about to sink his own career to address a room of skeptical sailors. I thank you all for coming. I know you know the risk this presents to you. I live a very comfortable life. I'm sure you all know, but it wasn't always that way. I grew up in a poor neighborhood in Equestria. It took everything my family had to send me to officer school, and I saw so many other cadets with the same story as me, with twice my brains, flunk out because they needed to take care of their siblings, or their parents got a medical bill, or they couldn't afford, or whatever it was. Whatever it was always something. And while we struggled and fought and sometimes failed, the rich kids would cruise on by like it was nothing. Skybolt let the anger he'd felt for so long propel him. I made it. I was lucky, but so many others didn't. And you know what? I shouldn't have to become an officer to make more than a pittance. You shouldn't have to be brilliant to live a good life, because the Navy needs sailors just as much as it needs officers, and we have the capacity. Don't let any pony or any griff tell you it can't be done, because if they're able to have decent living conditions for sailors and for common workers in a struggling, embargoed, frozen country like Stalingrad, then you damn well bet we can do it at Hippogriffia. His sailors cheered. Woo! Yeah! And Skybolt noted the RWP recruitment sheets being passed around. Good. He'd probably just sink his career for this, but if it meant the sailors would finally fight for their own liberation, it would be worth it. Aries First aren't the only ones with fiery speeches. Nope. I'd say that one was even more fiery than they could do. What's up? Nova Griffonia seizes village up north. Okay, and also, in a secluded part of Equestria, a bright green sea pony named Hardline spoke to a crowd of local students. "Can any pony among you tell me what Caramel Marks would say if she could see you? To keep up the hard work?" asked one of them. "Absolutely not!" barked Hardline. "Caramel Marks would be ashamed! You talk of revolution, private, but in public, you demand nothing but free tuition and a few trinkets for the workers you claim to champion. Scraps! You demand scraps! Caramel Marks herself once demanded scraps from Princess Celestia, but her pleas were rebuffed, and she learned her lesson well. It was only the Winter Revolution which brought the ponies more than scraps, and even they fell backwards in state capitalism. Why? Because of the material conditions of... No! Because they allowed timid rightists to lead. Revisionists who told them to slow down. The some pony get hurt. Revolution is no game. If no pony is getting hurt, then what is it? Surely not a revolution. Rosie Luxemburg once said, either a revolution must advance at a rapid, stormy, resolute tempo, break down all barriers with an iron paw, and place its goals ever further ahead, or is it quite soon thrown backwards and suppressed by counter-revolution? Will you take your scraps or go back home? Become cogs in the state apparatus, or will you stand as comrades and proclaim resolutely and proudly that you stand for the revolution? Soon the students were saying that they had been thinking. Good. Yeah, I'll take some production efficiency base. It is time. A stateless society is a desirable end, to be sure, but to get there will take a transitional dictatorship of the proletariat. It is absolutely essential that at this vulnerable time we not falter. Stalingrad may have made some failures, but that simply means we must do better this time. After all, isn't dialects the essence of communism? Might as well. And... yeah. The communist dream will be finally coming soon. Ooh. Yes, go my brethren of the north. Spread the ways. And how is... I see things are struggling, but you are continuing to hold. You are holding for longer than the capitalist deer could ever. You continue to fight on. Continue, my beloved dear version of me. I believe in you. I believe. You can do it. The plutocracy. The evil plutocracy fighting evil despotism. They are both just awful. It does not even matter who would win in that fight. There would be no winner. Just a waste of my time to even view their self. The Blue Revolution. This was the day the leftist coalition, the RWP, the SLPA, and the PCCCA had been awaiting for months. Across Mount Ares, and Equestrian workers heeded the call for a general strike, grinding the economy to a halt. Outside the royal palace, a mass of demonstrators gathered. They were a diverse group. Hippogriffs from every corner of Ares, sea ponies who had taken hippogriff form for the day, and even a few zebras from the RWP's growing Zemidian branch. The crowd was so numerous that the royal guard struggled to hold them back as they pushed through barricade after barricade. Many of them carried only banners and picket signs, but many others were armed. Pasada had insisted that none of them be the first to fire. Any blood spilled today would be on the government's claws, but they wouldn't hesitate to fight back if necessary. Their demands were simple: Novo's immediate abdication and the formation of a communist government. Inside the palace, the atmosphere was tense. Queen Novo and her advisors discussed several plans to disperse the mob. When it became clear that nothing but her abdication would satisfy them, the queen resolved to order the royal guard to open fire. Before she could give the order, Princess Skystar pulled her aside. "Mother, you can't do this." I'm sorry, honey, but we don't have a choice. This is the only way to preserve our kingdom. I don't want to be queen of a kingdom that murders its own people, Skystar yelled, gesturing towards the window. "Mother, the people are on their side. If this is what the people want, isn't it our duty to step down?" Eventually, Skystar and several royal advisors appeared on a balcony, the queen refusing to deliver her decision in person. When they announced that Novo was caving to all demands, the crowd erupted into cheers. Pasada and other prominent leftists quickly began organizing a new government. As the sun set, the royal standard flying above the palace was lowered and replaced with two banners: the unofficial red-black flag of the leftist coalition and the blue flag of the RW people. The people have won their liberation! We have done it. No, I don't want these. We have succeeded. And yeah, as you can see, gone. Yep. I never touched that. That's just gone. Against all the wealth of the capitalist and cruelty of the imperialist, we prevailed. Now Hippogriffia stands ready to begin exporting the revolution globally, as it was always meant to be, to the workers of the world. And yeah, royal line's gone, and yada yada. I want the maintenance company. And yeah, this is only the beginning of why the princess is, pretty great. Like, she's not the best, but hey, she started as a royalty. She's willing to give it up. She's definitely showing herself as somebody who is better than most in her family. I can only hope she continues her redemption and learns the true way. Just as all of our nation may. Looking at my glorious nation and seeing our dream finally realized, I can only hope that we may spread it to the nations surrounding me and to the world around us. For the people and for this military factory I'm going to build in underwater. For the nation, the revolution triumphant! The opening of the Supreme Workers' Council. General Secretary Posita swam around her tank, letting the microphone she had installed in it carry her voice out to the assembled delegates of the Supreme Workers' Council. She knew the professional thing would be to stay in one spot, and that she should probably be in hippogriff form, but she was simply too giddy to stay still, and she wanted to experience this wondrous day in the form she preferred. Posita began her speech, her hair floating around her head as she gushed to the crowd. Comrades of the Supreme Workers' Council, I could not be more pleased to see you all here today. Today, we've taken the first step to making our dreams a reality and have boldly entered a new era. The revolution has truly begun here in Hippogriffia, and I am honored to accept the position of General Secretary and swear to do my duty to the revolution, to bring back about a new world from the ashes of the old. As my first act, I would like to call a vote to rename our country to something that reflects its true purpose and character. When I look around, I see not only hippogriffs, but also ponies, sea ponies, and zebras. I propose that this be the inaugural meeting of the Supreme Workers' Council of Revolutionary North Zebrica to better reflect our aims and makeup. The delegates raised claws, flippers, and hooves, and it was done. The Revolutionary Hippogriffia will now be known as Revolutionary North Zebrica, and we gain a humongous amount of claims. Like, what? Like, okay, cool. Claims time, baby. And that will be the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And I hope to see you in the next one. And as always, peace.